Let me tell you something. Sometimes when a man pulls back, it ain't because he don't care. It's because he cares more than he knows how to handle. See, a real man, when he's feeling something deep, he don't always know what to do with it. He's been taught his whole life to be strong, to keep it together, to not let emotions get the best of him. So when that connection hits him hard, he steps back, not to leave you, but to make sure he can stand tall next to you. When someone you care about starts pulling away, it's easy to assume the worst. You start thinking maybe they've lost interest, maybe their feelings have changed, or maybe you did something wrong. But here's the truth. Most people never stop to consider. Sometimes distance doesn't mean disinterest. Sometimes it's a sign that what they're feeling is so real, it scares them. When emotions run deep, people handle them differently. Some talk through it, some lean in, but others take a step back, not because they want out, but because they need to breathe. It's like standing too close to a fire. The warmth feels good, but get too close too fast and you'll burn yourself. So instead of walking away, they step back just enough to understand what they're really feeling. That distance can be their way of making sense of emotions they've never had to face before. Men especially are often taught from a young age to be strong, to stay composed, to never let emotions take control. So when love hits them, real love, not the surface level kind, it shakes something inside. They start questioning themselves. Am I ready for this? Can I give her what she deserves? What if I fail her? Those thoughts aren't about losing interest. They're about fear, responsibility, and wanting to measure up. Distance can actually be a form of respect. It's someone saying, before I give you all of me, I need to make sure I'm ready to stand beside you. Because real love isn't about showing up halfway. It's about being fully present. When someone takes that space, they're often trying to build themselves into the kind of person you can rely on. They're not running from you, they're running toward becoming someone stronger for you. It's hard to see that when you're the one left wondering, though. Silence hurts. You replay conversations in your mind. You question every word, every look, every moment. But while you're caught in your doubts, the other person might be quietly realizing just how much you mean to them. Sometimes it's only in the silence that they truly hear their own heart. Love isn't always loud. It doesn't always announce itself with constant attention or daily messages. Sometimes love hides in the pauses, in the quiet moments where someone is figuring out how to do this right. Distance gives perspective. It makes people see what life feels like without your presence. And when that realization hits, it can deepen their commitment in ways words never could. Instead of panicking over distance, try to see it as part of the process. If the connection is genuine, space won't break it, it will refine it. What's meant for you won't vanish just because there's a pause. Real connections survive reflection. They survive silence. And when that person comes back, they don't return the same. They come back with clarity, with purpose. When a man starts to pull away, it can feel confusing, even painful. You might think he's losing interest, but often that space isn't about rejection, it's about reflection. Men retreat to regroup. They step back, not because they've stopped caring, but because they're trying to understand what they're feeling and how to handle it. It's not a withdrawal of emotion, it's a recalibration of the heart. Most men are raised with a quiet rule: be strong, be steady, don't show too much. They're taught to handle things alone, to fix what's broken before showing it to anyone else. So when emotions start to run deep, when they feel truly connected to someone, it can stir up uncertainty. They might start questioning themselves. Am I ready for this kind of love? Can I be the man she deserves? What if I disappoint her? These questions don't come from a lack of love. They come from too much of it. For a man, pulling back can be a way to get his mind right before his heart makes promises. His life isn't ready to silence. It's one of the most misunderstood forms of communication. When someone goes quiet, we often assume they're uninterested, distant, or done. But silence doesn't always mean absence. Sometimes silence is reflection. It's the quiet space where emotions settle, where thoughts take shape, and where truth begins to speak louder than words ever could. When a person falls silent, it's easy to fill that void with assumptions. The mind rushes to conclusions. Maybe they don't care anymore. Maybe something's wrong. Maybe they've moved on. But often, silence is not avoidance. It's the space someone takes to process what they feel without the pressure of having to explain it right away. Everyone handles emotions differently. Some speak immediately. Others need to retreat into themselves for clarity. For some, silence isn't about pulling away. It's about making sense of emotions too powerful to put into words. In relationships, this silence can feel like a storm. The calls slow down. The text becomes shorter. The energy shifts. You start to wonder what changed. But in that stillness, something deeper might be happening. A person may be reflecting on how much you mean to them, on what they want for the future, or on how to balance their emotions with their responsibilities. It's in the silence that realization grows, not the kind that comes from talking, but the kind that comes from feeling. Silence gives the heart room to breathe. It allows people to hear their own thoughts clearly, to separate emotion from confusion, and to figure out what truly matters. When someone truly cares, they don't always rush to speak. They think before they act, because they understand that words carry weight. In that quiet, they might be deciding how to love you better, how to communicate more honestly, or how to become the version of themselves that won't hurt you. Silence is not coldness. It can be a mature man doesn't chase comfort, he chases readiness. There's a difference between wanting someone just to fill a void and wanting someone because you're truly prepared to build something lasting. A man who has grown through pain, failure, and responsibility knows that love is not a playground, it's a partnership. He's not looking for someone to ease his loneliness for the night. He's looking for someone he can stand beside for a lifetime. And to do that, he knows he must first be ready mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Comfort is easy. It's what makes people stay in relationships that go nowhere. What keeps them holding on to someone who simply feels familiar. Comfort says, I like the way you make me feel right now. Readiness says, I want to become the kind of man who deserves you. That's the difference between temporary affection and long-term commitment. The mature man understands that he can't offer peace to someone if he's still fighting chaos within himself. That's why he might take his time. He might pause, pull back, or even walk away for a while. Not because he doesn't care, but because he's aware that love without readiness leads to disappointment. He's not interested in giving you half of himself. He wants to give you a love that's built on strength, not survival. He doesn't want to depend on you to fix him, heal him, or motivate him. He wants to come to you already standing tall, already whole, already capable of protecting what you two create together. Patience is one of the most powerful strengths a person can have, especially in matters of the heart. When emotions run high, when uncertainty creeps in, and when someone you care about starts to pull away, the natural instinct is to chase, to question, to demand answers. But true strength lies in doing the opposite, in staying calm, grounded, and secure in your own worth. Your power is in patience. It's the quiet confidence that says, I know who I am, and I don't need to force what's meant for me. Patience isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It means understanding that love, growth, and clarity all take time. People often confuse patience with waiting endlessly, but that's not what it is. Patience means giving situations the space to unfold naturally without letting anxiety or insecurity take control. It's trusting that what's real will come back, that what's meant to stay will stay, and that you don't need to beg or rush for something genuine. When someone pulls back, it's easy to react. You want answers, reassurance, connection. But reacting out of fear only pushes things further away. The mature response is to let space exist not as a punishment, but as a statement of trust. It says, I believe in what we shared and I respect your need for clarity. That kind of calm energy is magnetic. It shows that your sense of self isn't dependent on someone else's presence or attention. You know your value, and that's what makes people gravitate back toward you. Patience also teaches perspective. In silence, you learn what truly matters. You start to see that chasing after someone doesn't make them stay. It only drains your energy. But when you pull your focus back to yourself, your growth, your peace, your purpose, you stop waiting passively and start living actively. You learn to fill your own cup instead of waiting for someone else to pour into it. That's when you become powerful. Distance is often misunderstood. When someone creates space, our first reaction is usually fear. Fear that they're pulling away for good, fear that they've stopped caring, fear that the connection has lost its meaning. But what if that distance isn't about rejection at all? What if it's preparation? Sometimes the space between two people isn't a wall meant to divide them, but a workshop where growth, clarity, and purpose are being built quietly behind the scenes. People need space to understand themselves. When emotions run deep, it's easy to get lost in them, to confuse passion with readiness, affection with alignment. Stepping back allows a person to see things clearly, not just how they feel about you, but what they can realistically offer you. Love requires maturity, and maturity can't grow in noise or pressure. Sometimes distance becomes the soil where that maturity takes root. When someone takes space, it doesn't always mean they've stopped loving you. It can mean they're trying to become the version of themselves that can love you right. Maybe they need to work on their goals, their mindset, or their emotional stability. Maybe they're learning how to communicate better or how to handle the weight of responsibility that comes with loving deeply. This kind of preparation takes courage. It's much easier to stay close and pretend everything is fine than to step back and face your own weaknesses. Distance isn't rejection, it's a sign of self-awareness. It also gives you perspective. When you're too close to something, it's hard to see it clearly. Distance brings clarity. It shows you what's real and what's temporary. It tests the strength of a bond. If what you share can survive space, silence, and uncertainty, then it's something worth keeping. If it fades, then it wasn't built to last in the first place. Either way, distance reveals the truth that time alone can't hide. During that time apart, both people grow. One might be learning how to lead with love instead of ego, while the other learns to stand in self-worth instead of fear. The space between them becomes a mirror reflecting what needs healing, what needs changing, and what's worth holding on to. And when they come back together, it's not as the same people who parted ways. They return more grounded, more aware, more ready. It takes strength to not see distance as rejection. It takes emotional maturity to say, maybe this space is working for us, not against us. When you stop chasing closure and start trusting timing, you give love room to breathe. You allow it to evolve naturally instead of forcing it to fit into your expectations. True connection doesn't crumble under space, it deepens because of it. So when distance appears, don't panic. Don't label it as the end. Sometimes it's the pause before a beautiful restart. Sometimes it's the silence before the understanding. The people who are meant to stay in your life will find their way back, not because you begged them to, but because the distance helped them realize what life feels like without you. And when they return, they won't come back confused, they'll come back certain. Distance, when viewed with patience and faith, isn't a loss, it's a process. It's the universe rearranging things, shaping two hearts separately so they can meet again, not half-formed, not unsure, but prepared. And when that happens, you'll see that the space you once feared was never rejection at all. It was just preparation for something stronger, deeper, and more real than before.